Well, about 14 years ago, my wife and I were expecting our first child, and we decided that it would be good for us to go to a one-day workshop designed for first-time parents so that we could learn how to take care of this human being that would soon be coming into our family. One of the things I learned at the workshop was something that didn't seem to make sense right away, but it's something that is applicable for parents and for basically any relationship that you might have in life. Now, I had to pay good money to learn this principle, this idea, but I'm going to give it to you guys for free. What they told us, which seems so counterintuitive, was simply this: that as a parent, you need to take care of yourself first. In the moment, I was like, this doesn't make sense. To be a good parent means you put your child first, right? Well, no, because if the parent is in a bad place, they'll be in no position to help their child. What I know about us is that as we're talking about being neighbors and what it means to be a good neighbor, it's important to pause and acknowledge the same is true of us. That if you're not in a good place, you're not going to be a good neighbor. So today for this video, I want to pause and acknowledge that we can just stop talking about the people around us for a moment. We can stop talking about the neighbors. And I just want to ask you, how are you doing? Are you in a good place or not? There's a lot of ways that we're being pushed into bad places right now: financially, relationally distanced, emotionally, mentally, physically. Now more than ever, Americans are in a position where we're just not in a good place, and it's starting to take its toll. We see relationships that are in conflict, and we're seeing all sorts of signs and indicators that we're not in a good place, and we desperately need to be. And what I know is that if you're not in a good place right now, you're probably not going to be open about it. Right now, you're probably justifying why you are where you are. And I just want to let you know, I understand. It's understandable that you're in the place that you're at, emotionally, mentally, physically, whatever it is. The season is hard for all of us, but maybe what we need to do today is just pause to make sure that we can find our way to a good place. Now, what I want to share is maybe not shattering for some of you, but I want to just put it this way. Jesus was a good neighbor, and do you know why? He was a good neighbor because he was always in a good place. He was in a good place not because he had all this money that he could turn back to. He was in a good place not because he was popular or successful, but he was in a good place because of his relationship with his Father in heaven. In fact, the day before his death, as he was sitting with his disciples at the Passover meal, he told his disciples the one secret to being in a good place. It has nothing to do with your success or how much money you have. It has everything to do with where your heart is. This is the secret that Jesus told his disciples. In John chapter 15, "As the Father has loved me, so have I loved you." One sentence, a simple secret, where Jesus said, the thing that kept me in a good place, in a place to show love for you, is that I knew I was loved by my Father. Jesus had this perfect love that his Father gave to him, a perfect love that filled every need, every desire, every want that he could possibly have. And as Jesus received that perfect love for his Father, it filled him up to the point where he could share that love with other people. And that same thing is true of you and of me too. There's lots of things that can get us in a bad place, but there's only one thing that can get us out of it. And that is to know that everything you need, every want, every desire, is something that your Father in heaven gives to you. As the Father has loved me, so I have loved you. I want to give you permission today to pause. Just think about the place that you're at. Maybe the place you're at is making you overflow with shame because you can't help people because you're in a bad place. Maybe it's making you overflow with guilt because you feel like people are looking down on you because of where you're at. Shame and guilt are horrible things to overflow with. But what I want to give you time for and space for is just to let you know that you can take all the time you need to be loved by God in his perfect way. Let his love flow into your heart to fill you up so that all the shame and all the guilt, it gets pushed out of the way. And instead you find his forgiveness and his kindness and his love for you. God doesn't ask you to pour yourself out and to empty yourself out so that the people around you like you. All He invites you to do is to overflow with the love He has filled you with.